I told you all going into the Super Bowl that if the 49ers were able to get to Patrick Mahomes, they were able to run the ball, they were able to get the ball down the field in the middle of the field, that they would win the Super Bowl. And tonight it just wasn't enough. Congratulations to the Chiefs for winning again. And yes, we NFL fans are loath to go through another offseason of the Chiefs winning a Super Bowl. Yes, they have their dynasty. The NFL has their another dynasty in as many years. And we NFL fans just have to suck it up and just deal with it. And just hope next year that we get somebody new. Because it seems like in the past 10 or so Super Bowls, AFC has been represented by Mahomes or Brady. Maybe next year we'll be able to break that. But let's get into the video. Let me know what you think down below. And let's talk about this game. It was a really good game. It didn't start off that way. I mean, the Chiefs in the first half were pretty terrible. They didn't get their first point until the end of the first half. The 49ers played pretty well for the most part, but they had a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes. McCaffrey with that fumble early on, they just weren't able to get the ball moving at times. They were settling for field goals and just weren't able to get the ball moving at all. When they were moving the ball and running the ball, they were getting like 4 or 5 chunks every time. But then they started to move away, and Purdy started to throw down the field a little bit more, and the Chiefs were able to key in on that. We get to the halftime show, which was pretty darn good, considering the past couple of halftime shows have been pretty bad. Usher put on a pretty good show. He still got it. Show wasn't too terrible. I mean, I've seen a lot worse. I mean, last year's with the little celebration of hell. I mean, this was a pretty good halftime show, all things considered. No, it's not as good as what they've been in the past, but for what we got, it was a pretty good show. Now we get in the second half where it really starts to get going. Although, even still, it didn't really get, the points really didn't start to fall till the middle of the third. Chiefs still had a little trouble getting on the ball. And before I forget about this, the Dre Greenlaw running onto the field, totally just inadvertent freak play, ruptured Achilles, out for the year, and probably out for all of next year. It's terrible. It's a really terrible thing to see. The 49ers defense will definitely be weaker, and it probably hurt them a lot in this game, being he's really good in the middle, being able to shut down those big plays, and you could feel without him being out there that they were losing something on their defense. They lost Debo for a little bit. They lost Kittle for a little bit. And as good as Purdy was and looked in the first half, and McCaffrey, for the most part, looked pretty decent, though overall, it says really didn't start to pick up towards the end of the game. The 49ers offense was pretty good, all things considered, but it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. The thing that really came down, that really changed the game, was when Jake Moody had that extra point blocked. Now, if that doesn't get blocked, the Chiefs probably have to probably have 2 plays with 6 seconds left in the game. They probably have 2 plays to throw into the end zone. And more than likely, the Chiefs probably get the ball. They probably score the touchdown. They probably went there. But, again, it's just those inadvertent plays that happen that really stall the 49ers out. And then you had that totally unforced error on the kickoff return. Everyone's saying, get away. But then you have Darrell Luter, who is going to be a meme for a century. I mean, he's going to be memed out of oblivion. I've already seen memes around the air of him trying to get into the 49ers locker room, getting locked out, which is hilarious. Yes, it sucks to see it happen, but he clearly didn't have the on-field presence to avoid the ball, and as a result, it set up Kansas City for their first lead of the game. 49ers, if they would have ran the ball more, I know the game script and all depends on how it's going. I'm not a coach. All I can say is what I see from the couch and just from what I know about the game. But it just seems like they moved away from the ball running game a little bit too much at times. When they were running well, they were running well. And the Chiefs really couldn't stop them. They were really getting gassed toward the end of the game. Like, I was thinking there was 4 minutes left, and there's like, how are the Chiefs going to find a way to win? How are the Chiefs going to find a way to win? But it's just those couple plays. And then we get to overtime. when the 49ers looked like they could do nothing wrong. They were just moving. And even when they got stopped and had to gain 14 yards, they just threw that perfect pass to Kittle. Kittle gets over, he gets the first down, and there was that drop ball, or supposed to drop ball, really wasn't dropped. He made a football move and was able to get it. But then they have 7 yards to go. 7 yards to go. They have 7 yards to go. And they end up settling for a field goal, and then it's on like Donkey Kong. You could see it on Patrick Mahomes' face. He was salivating, looking at the clock. It's like, I got this. Where I'm going to get the storybook ending. The people in the booth, Taylor Swift, Taylor. Every time they show Taylor Swift in the game, you could just imagine the fans or the Swifties on TV going, oh my God, our goddess, yeah. And I'm wondering what the Super Bowl celebration is like right now. I'm sure Taylor Swift will be on the field, but we get to that last drive by the Chiefs. The Chiefs were down through their last play. The 49ers were 1 play away. All they had to do was get a stop. They were 1 play away from getting their first Super Bowl in 30 years. And then they give up the perfect play to Mahomes, the perfect running play. And because Mahomes on the last play he just went for it. He had a couple of great runs, and it was destiny. They had destiny on their side. The Chiefs were not going to be stopped. And although they were dead at several points in this game, they made the plays when it mattered, and they won. And yes, we NFL fans have to suffer through another year knowing that the Chiefs won another Super Bowl, and that we're all going to have to hear about Mahomes for years and years and years, like we've heard about Tom Brady. I mean, even in the stupid Super Bowl, we couldn't get away from Tom Brady. He's still going to be there. Patrick Mahomes is going to be there. We're just going to have to suffer it and hope the NFL gods allow us a different Super Bowl champion. And now comes in the question with the 49ers. Now, Shanahan's not going to get fired. John Lynch is safe. He's built a great organization. They're not going to fire him. They're not going to fire Shanahan. Maybe Wilkes might be looked at, but maybe he probably comes back next year. But it puts questions in the mind of fans. And it probably puts some questions into the upper management. Not saying that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch aren't the right guys to build the team and get a Super Bowl. But they've been in this position. They've been in the Super Bowl 2 times. They've been in the NFC Championship game a bunch of times with the same core. Yeah, the core is getting older, but it's still pretty young, still pretty fit. They still look great. A lot of good players but eventually the money start to kick in. Like I said before, Dre Greenlaw, ruptured Achilles, probably out for all of next year, which is a big loss for their defense. I'm sure they'll find some way to replace it somehow, because John Lynch is really good at building a team. Maybe not good enough to get them to the Super Bowl championship, but he's built a pretty good organization. And there's really nothing to spit or just be negative about the 49ers fans. I mean, if you're a 49ers fan, I know you're probably feeling like, is this how it's always going to be? Are we going to be like the Cowboys fans? Always, though, close. The last 30 years, we've been so close a couple times, but haven't been able to get there. You'll get there. You have a great team, and even as a Packers fan, I'm just watching them. They played great tonight. There's a couple plays that got out of the way and allowed the Chiefs to stay in. They had several opportunities where they could have really stepped on the throat. I mean, that first play series of the game, that unforced error fumble by Christian McCaffrey, they scored that touchdown. It's another 7 points. They left a lot of points on the board out there. So did the Chiefs. And there's several times where both teams could have taken advantage of this game and really put their foot down on it, but it went to overtime. And you know how the NFL overtime rules are. It can't end until both teams have possessed the ball. And since the 49ers settled for the field goal, the game was about to end. The overtime was about to end, and it would have gone into a second overtime. The first time ever in a Super Bowl would have had 2 overtimes. But again, the Chiefs still would have had time to score a touchdown, and they scored in the nick of time to avoid going to that second overtime. and the Chiefs win, and the rest they say is history. I mean, Mahomes played well tonight. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. Purdy didn't make a lot of mistakes too. Didn't play well enough to win, but he played hard. He played great at times. He had a couple of bad throws here and there, but they have a very bright future still. Purdy's the quarterback for San Francisco for the foreseeable future. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. Why would you go for anybody else where you have this guy who's not the best in the world, but he's efficient. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, and even when he does, he's able to bounce back pretty well. And congrats to the Chiefs. They won it. I mean, yeah, we have to suffer through it, but it's just the way it is. It's just the way the NFL wants it. And I guess you can really ask for nothing better. It was a good game overall. I mean, it's one of the better games we've had in a while. So, I mean, good game. Yes, the Chiefs won, but 49ers will be back there next year. Hopefully the Packers will be in the position next year, and they're able to actually go over the top and beat the 49ers. Maybe, just maybe, make the Super Bowl. That'd be great. And especially since it's going to New Orleans again next year, would be nice for the Packers to win a Super Bowl there. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But great game by both teams. It was a great Super Bowl. Yes, some weird plays. So overall, the commercials were pretty terrible. Pretty decent halftime show. Overall, the Super Bowl Sunday was a pretty good day. So that's all we can really expect as NFL fans. All we want is a good game. And there weren't any real plays that you can really say, that was fixed. Yeah, the NFL put their thumb on the scale there. It's not really a lot of plays out there. It was a good game overall, and that's all we can hope for. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Congrats to Chiefs fans. You deserve it. You showed the NFL that we were all wrong, that we were thinking their run was over, and sure enough, you come back and win back-to-back years, 3 out of 4, and if not for one of the most egregiously officiated games in Super Bowl history, maybe they have 4 straight. Maybe, just maybe, but I guess we'll never know. But congrats, Chiefs fans, 49ers fans. Don't be down. You have a great team going forward, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. Have a great day, and God bless.